Welcome to another Excel tutorials. In this video, we are going to learn how to create automatic serial numbers in Microsoft Excel. I have this data in my worksheet and I want to create automatic serial numbers for this particular data. Let's assume that you are the secretary or the IT person in your organization and you have been provided with this data we have in this worksheet. And the essence behind this data is to print this data on a medium with serial numbers attached to this data. And I'm going to share with you a very great function in Excel that can easily enable you to create these serial numbers. And this function is known as the sequence function. And we are going to combine the sequence function with the Counta function to create our serial numbers. But before then, let me show you how, or let me illustrate to you how this sequence function works and also how the Counta function works. Then at the end, we combine these two functions to create our automatic serial numbers. Now, the sequence function allows you to generate or create a sequence of numbers. So if I select this cell and type equal to, I have this sequence function and it says returns a sequence of numbers. So when I hit the tab key, I'm going to have the full description of this particular function known as the sequence function. And the first argument says rows. So this is where you are going to determine the number of rows that you want to have, where all these numbers that you are going to generate are going to be located. So I am going to choose 5 rows, then I bring my comma. Then the next argument is columns, and I'm going to choose 6 columns. Then you type your comma and it says start. So you are going to choose the number that you want to start with, and I'm going to start with 10. So the first number that will be found in the first cell is going to be 10. Then the next argument says step. This is where you are going to type the step value, and the step value is the value that is going to be added to the first value that you are going to generate. Then that value is going to be appeared in the next cell. So if I type the step value as 50, it means that the first cell with the formula is going to be 10, then the second cell is going to be 60. That is, the 50 will be added to the 10 to generate the second value in the next cell. Then that is going to be a continuous operation for this particular function. So if I type 50, close the formula and hit the enter key, see what we have here. You can see that this first cell is 10, the next cell is 50, because we have the start value as 10, then the step value is 50. Therefore, this 50 is going to add to 10 to generate the second value in the second cell. Then when we move to the third cell, which is under column H, we have this 60. Therefore, 50 will be added to 60 to generate the next value, which is 110. And that is going to be a continuous operation. So this 110, we had another 50 being added to this to get 160. 50 added to 160 to get 210. And when we move to the next cell, we had 50 added to 210 to get 260. And that is going to be a continuous thing based on the formula and its argument. So the first one gives you the number of rows, the number of columns, the start value, and also the step value. So this is how the sequence function works in Microsoft Excel. Now this function is a spelled function. Why is it a spelled function? If you try to delete a value in these generated numbers, this function is going to disallow you from deleting any value. So you select delete. You still have the value back. You can only delete these values by moving to the first cell that has the function. That is the cell in which the function is situated. So if I select this first cell, I have the formula in the formula bar or the function in the formula bar. But if I select this second cell, the formula is there but it is being grayed out. That is, there is a fade character given to this function as compared to this first cell. So you can see that you can only make changes in this first cell. So if you want to delete this entire generated numbers, then you have to delete this cell. So when I hit delete key, that is going to delete all the numbers that is generated, but you can't delete these numbers that we have here. That is the power of the sequence function, known as the spelled function. What you have to do is to select the first cell that contains the function, then you hit the delete key. Now let me show you how the count A works. If I select this cell and type count A, it says count the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So if I select all these cells and hit the enter key, I have 10. That is, the number of cells in this range is 10. I can also count letters or labels. If I select this, which contains a label, and hit the enter key, this also gives me 10. So this count A combined to the sequence function, we can easily create our automatic serial numbers. Now let's create an empty column before this. So right click and choose insert. So we have this empty column here. Let's type serial number and hit the enter key. You can apply the same formatting. Now in this cell A2, we are going to type equal to sequence, and it says rows. If you are to use the sequence function alone to perform this, it can easily work, but there is a downside of this function. So let me show you how it is. So I can type 10 rows, then I need only one column. Close this parenthesis and hit the enter key, and see what happens here. We have these serial numbers created for all these students. So I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So we have these serial numbers created perfectly using only the sequence function. And the downside of this is, if I delete maybe these 3 rows, right click and choose delete, it deletes the names of the students, but we still have the serial numbers available, and that is not what we want, because we want automatic serial numbers whereby when we delete any data or a row, these serial numbers will also be deleted. So this is where the count A function comes in. So we are going to combine the count A function to the sequence function. So you type equal to sequence, then this is where you bring the count A. Now in this function we are going to use cell reference. So the first student is in B2, so we type B2, we bring our colon. Now the next cell reference is going to be the last cell in this data. So you can easily identify the last cell. When you have a large amount of data, you can scroll down to the last cell under the column in which you are using to create your serial numbers, and I'm using column B, and this is the last cell under column B, and this is located under B11. So I'm going to type B11, and you can see that these cells have been selected. As you can see, we have this border around this border around these cells. So we close the parenthesis for the count function and also close it for the sequence function. So what we want to do here is, I want to fix this first cell by pressing the F4 on the keyboard, and this is B11. So when I hit the enter key on the keyboard, see what happens here. We have this serial numbers perfectly created using the sequence and the count A function. So we have 1 to 10, and that is what we have here. If I delete these 3 rows, this serial numbers has automatically adjust itself based on the number of cells under each column or under the column B. If I select this, right click and choose delete, I have these 4 names here, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and these serial numbers are perfectly created in our worksheet. So this is how you can combine the sequence function and the count A function to create automatic serial numbers. Hope you like this video. Please give it a like and share your comments in the comment section. We shall meet in the next video.